Everyone, welcome to Monday through Friday, Cellular Agriculture for a Pandemic-Free Future. My name is George Ortega. This is episode number 26. We're recording on August 11th, 2020 at 2:57 p.m. Eastern Time. And what I want to do today is get right into the morality, because that's the essence of this, you know. So, I mean, just to give it the necessary prelude, you know, we're in this mess because this is punishment for abusing, paying people to abuse over 70 billion land animals every year. And probably for 50 million abortions every year, and for letting too many people remain poor. So, and yeah, there's a way out. You know, God is punishing us for certain, but the way out, He actually gave us 7 years before this happened. 7 years before 2019 in London, Mark Post, a researcher from Maastricht University in the Netherlands, introduced to our world the first lab-grown meat product. It was a hamburger patty, and launched this new industry that, unless we all want to go vegan, remains our best chance of avoiding future pandemics. It appeases God by our stopping this, crueler than cruel treatment of animals, and it gives us all the meat, dairy, fish we want without having to harm a single animal. And that's the gist. So we should be pumping $50 billion into this, after the election, I guess. But Trump wouldn't do this. All right, so that's the backdrop. But the question, before us, it's not, some problems have technological fixes. Other problems are more sociological, and some are fundamentally moral. So yeah, this may be playing out in the medical and economic arena, social arena, but it is fundamentally a problem of morality. If for nothing else at all, we are being punished for being careless. If you want to exclude the harm we cause these animals every year, and I'm not sure there's a reason to do that, but just alone, our carelessness, our recklessness in perpetuating this farming system that makes us perpetually prey to pandemics like this. It's just amazingly reckless, careless, foolish. And we don't have to go to religion, to God, to understand that the nature, the laws of physics, our life will punish us to the extent that we're careless, in 1,000 different ways. So, all right, so, it's a moral problem. The question becomes, earlier today I was on a Zoom call with two wonderful ladies, we had a half an hour discussion, conversation, and they are such good people. They're basically everywhere. There are so many good people. Good in so many ways. People work hard, people care, people give, in so many ways. And so then how do you explain this? How do you explain people who are so good in so many ways that we can continue to mistreat those animals, continue to be so reckless with our lives, our lifestyles, the world we've created, the world so many generations before us worked so hard to create. How do you explain that? Is it that we're all too busy pursuing what? Greater gain, greater what? I would imagine morality, or our welfare, our future, is vastly more important than perhaps what we too often distract ourselves with. So yeah, this is the 26th episode, and I'm expecting to find a way to reach you, to get you to understand and to talk about this, to just have a movement develop, have people finally decide to end this factory farming, especially, and also, here in the United States, 99% of our farming is factory farming. So, but throughout the world, these smaller farms pose a threat also. Yeah, this is what's needed. We've got to start a movement. The Quakers created the abolitionist movement. There were about a dozen of them. We got together in one community in Pennsylvania. I think it may have been Philadelphia. And, they just talked about it and talked to more and more people. And soon there was a national abolitionist movement that extended far beyond their religion. So, so this is what we need. Obviously, if we could get the media to consider the moral, religious aspects of this, let aside religious, the moral aspects of this, we'd probably be a long way into this movement, into this abolition of animal cruelty. And I think maybe we have to start thinking bigger. We have to start thinking, yes, it's the time to do that. Basically, this is a matter of survival. Those corporations, the media, who are owned by corporations, Google, Apple, these major media corporations, they're not more important than our civilization. And we need to, I think that's the first step. We need to pretty much demand that they start covering this moral aspect, this, if you want to cover it from the recklessness aspect, how irresponsible it is to perpetuate the system that basically ensures future pandemics, when all we have to do is ramp up this new industry to be free of these pandemics. If the media isn't reporting on this, what are they doing? really, what are they doing? So it seems like some of you who are connected to media people. I get things, okay? I get things a lot better than most people in a lot of ways. And my role is generally to come up with some kind of answer, but then I communicate it to people that I hope are intelligent enough, caring enough to get it. And then and perhaps they're also able to expand the message, extend it, to people who wouldn't resonate with the way I deliver the message. And that's why, a movement like this takes everybody. It doesn't, I can't do it alone, and neither can you. So it seems, we should be praying to God about this. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we don't pray to God enough to, it's funny about our modern religions, at least, for example, in Judaism. I'm Jewish, and we study the Torah, the Talmud, but we're studying, sometimes inconsequential, minor, sometimes completely irrelevant events that happened a couple of thousand years ago, 3,000 years ago, and we're not studying, this coronavirus, its relation to morality, what we have to do. There's a separation of church and state, I get, but that doesn't muzzle us to look for answers and to champion what's right in these situations when the media and our politicians aren't taking the lead. Maybe we're jumping ahead of ourselves. We get how cruel we are to those animals. We get our complicity, paying people to abuse and torture these animals so we can get our chicken at 1/4 of what would cost otherwise if chickens were treated kindly. We get that. And I guess until recently, we thought that, well, it must be all right with God because we're doing fine. So now we discover that if it was good with God at a certain point, it no longer is. And coronavirus seems to be evidence enough of this, to have these zoonotic diseases like coronavirus and avian flu and swine flu attack us, these pandemics that originate in animals. It seems like God saying, wake up. This isn't just a coincidental connection. All right, so let's turn positive. In World War II, we had to fight for what was right. During the Civil War, we fought for what was right. Now we have to fight for what is right. Fortunately, we don't have to resort to the military. That's a godsend. But we have to fight, and just like after the Civil War and after World War II, we created much better world in so many ways. This is an opportunity. Okay, this is an opportunity to change things that otherwise have no chance of changing. Perfect case in point, the Black Lives Matter movement. This police brutality that has been tolerated for decades is coming to an end. And that's just the beginning. This economic collapse that that will become evident eventually, probably sooner than later. The distancing and the isolation. We're all prisoners, and talk about irony, poetic justice. We imprison these animals. So sows, female pigs, are locked in crates so small sometimes they can't even turn around for months at a time. And but the European Union decided to outlaw that, but their solution isn't much better. Now these pigs have a little more room, and chickens. Yeah, so we are, we're imprisoned. This is like house arrest for all of us, and so yeah, this is a time for demanding what we should be demanding, what we should have been demanding for years, if not decades. We first demand that we stop abusing these animals. We do that for God, to appease God, a way of asking God's forgiveness. Naturally, that's only the beginning. There are a lot of people who are threatened with being evicted. We demand that no one gets evicted. There are people who are without jobs. We demand that either they be given jobs or they be given compensation. We demand a much better world with much better leaders. This is what I'm saying is a bit irrelevant because it's playing itself out. What has to happen will happen, regardless of whether we know it will or not today. People are either going to be evicted or keep their apartments, their houses. And I'm guessing they will keep their apartments and houses. People who need to work or need an income to survive, and yes, I'm guessing they will be given jobs or an income to survive. And that's a given. I don't think any political party, any corporate conspiracy can prevent that. So actually, when you consider that, you can see how actually this is a painful but wonderfully auspicious time. This is kind of like the birth pangs of a much better world. Our conscience becomes awakened to the plight of those animals, those pigs and chickens and geese and cows and all. We were awakened to that, and then we're awakened to other atrocities, 50 million abortions, almost 1 billion people living in poverty, no access to clean water. Their kids are dying at a rate of 5 to 10 million each year unnecessarily because they don't have vaccines and medicines and nutrition that we could easily provide them and be as rich as we need to be. So yeah, this is the beginning of a new world, and neither the media nor the politicians nor the corporations have the power to stop it. They may want you to believe that this new world is not happening, because yes, they will lose power, money, but I think even they realize that it's pretty much set in stone. I mean, as tomorrow we'll see another sunrise, you know, this, what's the alternative? A civil war, another civil war? We have the poor and the somewhat poor and the out of work, you know, against the rich, the corporations, the media. I mean, I doubt we want to go that way. So since there are no other alternatives, people will keep their homes and get jobs or an equivalent income. People will have what we need, basic. We may not have the luxuries we had in the past, but we'll probably be much better off without some of them, because they tend to distract us from this moral component of life, this perspective of life that calls upon us to look at what we're doing, look at what our life is like, look at our relationship to God. I'm feeling better, actually. You know, here I am, you know, just again, 26 episodes trying to get you to understand this. And I guess what I'm realizing is that you may not understand it yet. But again, as I've been saying, you will. You will. I mean, like, as you're coming out of this pandemic, you'll ask yourselves, well, do we really want to risk this happening again? Let's do a risk-benefit analysis. Let's calculate what the percentages are that this might happen, and how much peace of mind do we want? And you know, I'm guessing you're going to like put two and two together and understand that, well, it's this factory farming industry that's the biggest risk. You know, the wet markets, it's a different market, I guess, whatever, but you know, they're both equal, not equally perhaps, but they're both dangerous. They're, you know, you'll see that you know, that in order to be reasonably safe of future pandemics, we're going to have to end factory farming. And as long as we're doing that, we might as well end regular farming, because that is a risk, and transition to this clean meat, you know, cultured meat. Transition to this cruelty-free meat. And, you know, that's just one, you know, thing that's going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, the point is that, like, I'm doing this. I guess I'm doing this because, like, you know, why do tomorrow when what you can do today? You know, like, yeah, we can wait for this to happen, you know, steadily, or we can push it along. You know, I mean, the faster we push it along, less expensive it'll be, and it'll feel good. It'll feel good. You know, I've done this with various fields, the happiness field. You push something along that you know is going to happen eventually, and it feels good to do that. And you really are doing something very important, very serious. So yeah, we don't wait until this becomes so obvious to pretty much anyone who knows anything about this. We start pushing along now. And yeah, and feel good, and then that's just the beginning, right? I mean, like, we end that factory farming. We're much safer from pandemics. We're very grateful for this. So let's tackle the global poverty. Let's start creating a world where a parent wouldn't dream of aborting their child. You know, let's start dreaming. Let's start thinking big. Let's start thinking of what we can and should do, what we've neglected to do, and then finally, for our greatest happiness, our greatest well-being, we should be doing. Because this is, it's not like what we need to do is a sacrifice in any real way. Because I mean, certainly we'll be sacrificing something, but with, we end abortion, yet we have all these kids in the world. We end global poverty. We end so much suffering, and we have new trade partners. We start addressing climate change, and we save tens of trillions of dollars and unfathomable misery in generations to come. Maybe this is all leading up to getting us prepared to fight climate change. If we tackle these factory farms, then we end this this threat of antibiotic resistance. We start using our antibiotics more safely. There's a lot we can do. So I'm glad, I'm getting there. I'm getting this message, it took 25 tries, but it's getting there. Running out of time. All right, catch this every Monday through Friday here on White Plains Community Media, 5 p.m. Channel 76 if you get Optimum, 45 if you get Verizon, and episodes are all on YouTube if you missed them. So start thinking big. Start thinking about the morality, about reward and punishment, how much God will bless us when we finally end factory farming. How much God will help us as we summon the courage and the concern to build a much kinder, more intelligent, and sustainable world. All right, well, I hope you're having a great Wednesday. I will hopefully, God willing, see you tomorrow.